Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Back at you with a new video. Today is Thursday, October 16th, 2025, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App $ORIONNWSF or the YouTube Super Chat. Right here, we got the Toronto Blue Jays versus the Seattle Mariners. ALCS game number 4. First pitch is going to be here in roughly 7 to 8 minutes. So let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into the starting lineups. Happy Thursday, everyone. And on the thumb, on the left, is the first baseman superstar, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And on the right, the best catcher in the game, the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Now let's get into the starting lineups here first for the visiting Toronto Blue Jays. Leading off for the Blue Jays at DH, George Springer. Batting second, playing left field, Nathan Lucas. Batting third, playing first base for the Blue Jays, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, catching today for Toronto, Alejandro Kirk. Batting fifth, playing center field, Dalton Varsho. Batting sixth, playing second base, Bernie Clement. Batting seventh, playing right field, Addison Barger. Batting eighth, playing second base, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. And batting ninth, playing shortstop, Andres Jimenez. And on the mound for the Blue Jays is Max Scherzer. And now let's get into the starting lineups for your Seattle Mariners. Leading off for the Mariners in left field, Randy Arozarena. Batting second, catching today for Seattle, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Batting third, playing center field for the Mariners, Julio Rodriguez. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, DHing tonight for the Seattle Mariners, Jorge Polanco. Batting fifth, playing first base, Josh Naylor. Batting sixth, playing third base, Eugenio Suarez. Batting seventh, playing right field tonight, Dominic Canzone. Batting eighth, playing shortstop, J.P. Crawford. And batting ninth, playing second base, welcome to the lineup, Leo Rivas. And on the mound for the Mariners, it is La Piedra, Luis Castillo. Let's go, baby. We got a 2-1 lead here in the ALCS, a must-win game for us, to give us a little bit more confidence going into Game 5 in a potential, closeout game type of situation. But we can't think about that until we get the job done here today. We're going to be shooting for 100 likes, 100 on the Dono train, and 5 to 15 subs. Once we hit those goals, we'll go 200 likes, 200 on the Dono train, and 50 to 100 subs. And again, the games have been pretty crazy, up to this point. Home field advantage up to this point has not existed just yet. Now the Dodgers are obviously at home right now, and it's looking like they might be able to have the first win, in the ALCS, NLCS home field advantage. But I like our chances here today. La Piedra has been good. Again, George Kirby, did not play well. And obviously, we didn't use any of our good bullpen pieces. We're saving them for today and tomorrow. So, don't be surprised if we end up seeing, Matt Brash or Gabe Spire or Edward Bazardo today and tomorrow. And obviously, they named Bryce Miller the starter of Game 5. Brian Wu is not ready just yet to start. So we may see him in the bullpen either today, tomorrow, or possibly later on in the series if it goes that long. But again, we all want to make sure that Wu is 100% healthy before throwing him out prematurely, because the last thing that we need is to have Brian Wu start tomorrow or, the next game, obviously for Game 5, and have him do what George Kirby did. We want to make sure we're going to the World Series. And again, you have to trust Brian's word as well as the medical staff. JC in the building, what's good? All day in the building, what's good? Matt, Enrique, right angle. Mike Moore in the building, what's good? Freedom in the building, what's good? Julie, Ghost Rider in the building. OLM in the building, let's go. Elmer in the building, let's go. Let me get all situated here. Tyler in the building, what's good? And shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Let's go, baby. And obviously Game 1 and Game 2, went exactly not how we thought, but exactly what we were hoping for. And obviously Game 3 yesterday, no one saw that coming, and I'm not even sure if Blue Jay fans saw that one coming to that extent. And again, hopefully if we see George later, in the World Series, hopefully he'll end up being better. But again, Bryce Miller was very good in Game 1. He'll be pitching Game 5. And again, I like our chances today and in Game 5. And we just got to get the job done. Again, the bats need to come alive. The magic number will be 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits. Victor Robles out for this particular game starting. Leo Rivas in. And I like Leo. Leo can bunt. He's good offensively and defensively. He plays well with JP at shortstop and second base. And we may see Victor Robles pinch hit later in the game if needed. But again, we know that veteran guys, can still play. We saw that with Shane Bieber yesterday. Max Scherzer is definitely a little bit older. He may not be the same pitcher that he was years ago, but still, there's a little bit of a skill set there from Max. And again, if we can knock him around early and get him to leave maybe an inning before, like somewhere maybe in the 5th inning, and potentially get a few home runs or a few ribbies, that definitely is going to be able to help us out later in the matchup. And hopefully we end up getting a meltdown by 1 or 2 of their guys in the Blue Jay bullpen. Let's go, baby. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 200 likes, 100 on the Dono train, and 50 to 100 subs. Now, obviously, with Anthony Santander, that injury with his back, obviously is still bothering him, and it sounds like they may end up taking him off the roster altogether. So if the Blue Jays were to advance, that he would not be available in the World Series. And again, injuries suck, regardless if it's for Toronto or for Seattle. Hopefully Santander will get better. And obviously we know we got one of our guys that's banged up when Brian Wu. Prayers up for him. Hopefully everything is good. And again, we may see him in the bullpen today or tomorrow, just to kind of, see how he feels instead of just throwing him out there, as a starter in Game 5 and having a meltdown like Kirby. We can't afford that at this point. So I like the decision of having Bryce Miller named the starter for Game 5 already. And I do have confidence in Luis Castillo here tonight. Let's go, baby. Trident's up. Seize the moment. Let's go, M's. So it sounds like more than likely that Wu will probably be coming out of the pen realistically to start off. Now, if we end up advancing and going to the World Series, Would he be able to start then? That's what we're probably thinking, and who knows, maybe he would even be ready, to be our game 6 or game 7 starter. But if we take care of business today in game 5, we won't have to worry about that scenario. So again, I want Wu to be healthy, but what do I want more than Wu being healthy at this moment? I want a game 4 and game 5 win, and then we can save Wu for the World Series. So let's go, baby. TJ in the building. What's good? Let's go. Let's get it. And shout out to my boy Brooks Beats, the best beats on YouTube. Luis Castillo on the mound and George Springer in the box. First pitch from Castillo to Springer, low and at the knees with the sinker, 94 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Trident's up, seize the moment. Let's go, baby. Got to finish strong. And it's not how, fast we start. We got to finish strong as well. 1-0 pitch. And Springer lines out to left to Randy Arozarena. Thank God that didn't hit the ground and turn into a dribbler in front of him. Otherwise, that probably would have been a double. And that is 1 away. We trust Randy with the pop-ups, not so much on the ground balls. Down goes Springer, lining out, 1 away. Next up is Nathan Lucas. First pitch from Castillo. Sinker right down the middle, 93 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Bring that electricity early and often, La Piedra. 0-1 pitch, grounds out to first, little toe tap on the bag, and that is 2 away. Very good start here for La Piedra. Next up for Luis Castillo, all-star, superstar stud, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Randy Julio, Dominic Canzone in the no-fly zone today. Gino Crawford, Rivas and Naylor in the infield, and Cal Raleigh behind the plate. First pitch from Castillo to Vladdy. Takes a strike looking right down the middle, 0-1 count. And already within the first, 3 or 4 pitches, you can already tell that he's more locked in than George Kirby was, in his entire outing. So, George had a hard time hitting the strike zone early and was getting behind in counts. And you're definitely seeing, pitches in the box. But again, you also will see him, try to get guys to go low and away, high and away. And I like what I'm seeing so far. Takes another strike looking right down the middle. No balls and 2 strikes to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Let's go. 0-2 pitch. And a little line drive up the middle. JP is there on the run off a bounce and got him. And we have to be so thankful that we got a guy as good as JP Crawford. You got to think about how many plays that would have been singles if it weren't for JP Crawford and Josh Naylor, in the second half of the season. Great job off the run, and we cannot underestimate the fact of the electricity that JP brings defensively, and a great job by Naylor on getting that baseball. Tough situation, tough play, 3 up, 3 down, and that's exactly what we wanted as a start for the Seattle Mariners here in the ALCS game number 4. Great job. Now let's see who's up next here for the Seattle Mariners. Leading off for the Mariners in left field, Randy Arozarena. Batting second, catching for Seattle, the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. And batting third, keeping his hot streak alive, center fielder, Julio Rodriguez. And on the mound for the Blue Jays, the OG vet, Max Scherzer. We need 51 subs to get to 23,100. And let's see where we're at here after the first commercial break. Gain 1 sub already. 50 to go to 23,100. Let's go. All day says we're at 52. Let's go. 48 more to go. And then once we hit 100, we'll be shooting for 200. And we're still looking for our first dono on our dono train. Yeah, and as long as Castillo, isn't giving up, a lot of home runs, which was his issue, in the middle towards the back end of the season, and again, we don't need, La Piedra to get 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 strikeouts. He can get 4 to 7 and a lot of pop-ups and ground outs and get guys to chase, on bad pitches. And as long as we get a few double plays mixed in, we should be good to go. The home runs should be available here today for the Mariners. And remember, don't forget about Randy and Cal going back-to-back late, where we could have ended up losing 13-2. Yeah, we got obliterated 13-4, but it was a good effort late to be able to get a couple more, when other teams may have given up. So let's see if that carries over for Randy and Cal in this particular game at some point. First pitch, big swing and a miss from Scherzer to Randy, 0-1 count. Scherzer on the mound, Rosarina in the box. Oh, 1 pitch, grounds out to third, throw to first, and that is 1 away. Work the count. Let's go, Randy. Next up for the Mariners, catcher, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Let's go, Cal. We're going to need you, baby. Let's go. Let's go, big dumper. Bottom of the first inning, 0-0, Blue Jays and Mariners. Scherzer on the mound, big dumper in the box. First pitch, low and away, four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour in the zone, 0-1 count. Appreciate that, Nick. 0-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and away. Curveball, off speed, 79 miles an hour by Scherzer. No balls and 2 strikes to big dumper, Cal Raleigh. We got to try to be able to get some damage on Scherzer at some point. Get a home run, an RBI, get him to walk a couple guys, hit a couple guys. As long as our guys don't get hurt, just try to have him get into a mini meltdown within the first 5 innings. Pitch is low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes to big dumper Cal Raleigh. 1-2 pitch, high and away, fouled off by Cal. Four-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour by Scherzer. Still has that top-end speed, even though he's up there in age. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Blue Jays, Mariners knotted up at 0 here early. 1-2 pitch, low and at the knees, off speed with that slider, 88 miles an hour. 2 balls and 2 strikes to big dumper Cal Raleigh. Let's go, Cal. Scherzer on the mound. Big dumper in the box. 2-2 pitch, low and at the knees. Change-up missing. And with all of those pitches that are low and at the knees, here's another one, four-seam fastball inside. And he's going with his whole arsenal. Cutter, slider, change-up, and four-seam, and none of them hit. And we like that. Cal with the walk. And again, that's something to keep an eye on if he's going to be mixing and matching maybe too many pitches in his arsenal, and that could come back to bite him. And you normally don't see a guy throwing in the same spot 4 times with 4 different pitches. At least I haven't, in this playoff run. So something to keep an eye on. Next up is Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, J-Rod. You've been absolutely fantastic with your home run power and with your swag and your energy in the no-fly zone. Let's go, Julio. First pitch from Scherzer to Rodriguez, low and away with the slider, missing. 87 miles an hour off speed, 1-0 count. And again, if we can force a few walks early, eventually that could turn into a big 3-run jack, by someone like Polo, maybe Josh Naylor, and even Eugenio Suarez. 1-0 pitch, high and away, four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour outside of the zone. Scherzer having a slight mini meltdown, and us Mariner fans are all for it. 2 balls and no strikes with a runner at first and 1 out. 2-0 pitch, low and away with the slider. 3 balls and no strikes to Julio Rodriguez. Great patience in the box there by Julio. Let's go, baby. Tridents up. Let's go, M's. Great eye by Julio. Remember, if this was at the first half of the year, he might have swung at 2 out of those 3 pitches, or who knows, maybe all 3. So again, the patience is there. Another low and away. And just like that, Raleigh with a walk, and now Julio with a walk, and now Polo has a chance to hit a 3-run jack, and we go up 3-0. We go up 3-0. We're not looking back. Let's go. Let's bring that electricity for Mr. October. Let's go, Polo. Let's go. Scherzer hasn't pitched in a month, and we know he's got the top-end speed, but does he have the location? So far, the speed is there. Location, not so much. Let's go, Polo. You know what to do, Jorge. You are Mr. October. That used to be referred to as Reggie Jackson, as well as Corey Seager when the Rangers were a wild card team and went all the way. But Jorge Polanco has been the best player in the playoffs, and hopefully he can do some magic here. First pitch, low and away, 1-0 count. And the meltdown is happening. Let's go. Pitch, fouled off right down the middle. Curveball, 78 miles an hour. And that's a wide variety of speed. You know, he can go from 95 to 78 on back-to-back pitches. So again, you know, the hitters are just going to have to be able to kind of wait and see. He's got 5-6 different pitches that he can throw at you. But right now, a lot of the pitches are missing low and away or inside. So we'll see where it goes. But so far, I like what I see. Bottom of the first inning, 0-0, Blue Jays and Mariners. 1-1 pitch, takes a strike looking low and in the zone. Changeup hitting 88 miles an hour by Mad Max Scherzer. 1 ball and 2 strikes with runners at first and second and 1 out. Appreciate you, Robert. You know, we just try to be able to give you guys the full experience, you know, with the pitch, what kind of pitch, the speed, the location, you know, the HD 4K photos, the great background music by Brooks Beats. You know, we're going to give you, you know, something that other channels, you know, seem to lack. And I do appreciate all the love. We're growing at a fierce pace, and it's go M's all day, every day. 1-2 pitch, and Polo grounds out into the double play, throw to first, and got him. Not what we wanted to see after getting Cal and Julio walked. But again, I do believe that Polo will be able to come up with a big play later on. And remember, just because we don't score in that first inning or second inning, as long as we get guys on, that usually is a foreshadowing of things to come, where that big inning will end up being 1 to 4 runs, possibly in the second, third, or the fourth. 0-0 here early, end of the first inning, and Scherzer looking a little shaky. We'll take that. Let's see who's up next here for the Toronto Blue Jays as we go to the top of the second. Next up for the Blue Jays, cleanup hitter, catcher Alejandro Kirk. Batting second, center fielder in the 5-hole, Colton Varsho. And batting third, second baseman in the 6-hole, Ernie Clement. Tridents up, seize the moment. Gained 2 more subs since the last commercial break. 48 more to go to 23,100. We recently just hit 23,000 subs, and we also hit over 5.1 million views on the channel. And that's because of every single one of y'all that are in the room and others as well. Appreciate you guys very, very much. Freedom from Thailand in the building. What's good? Luis Castillo, 1-inning pitch, 7 pitches, 6 strikes, giving up nothing compared to what we had with Mad Max. A little bit of a mini meltdown. 1-inning pitch, no hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 17 pitches, 8 strikes, and hopefully we can get that pitch count up sooner than later. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Our year, our time. Let's go. Let's go, La Piedra. You were absolutely fantastic in that first inning. And again, we don't need, 8 to 12 Ks to win. He can get 4 to 7 with some good defensive help behind him, and get the job done. First pitch, high and inside, should have been called a strike, but called ball. Four-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour, right there on the line, but more inside the box. 1-0 count. And we'll see, how this will progress. And hopefully the umping will be a little bit better than it has been earlier in the series. 1-0 pitch popped up, and Kirk popped out to first. Naylor is there, and that is 1 away. And again, Castillo has been very good on getting guys to swing at garbage pitches and to be able to get easy pop-ups and ground outs. And he's been able to prevent a lot of the big home runs that he was giving up earlier in the year. Great job, 1 away. Next up is Dalton Varsho. First pitch to Varsho, low and at the knees with the sinker, 93 miles an hour by La Piedra, 1-0 count. Chris in the building, what's good? 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Castillo to Varsho. 1-1 pitch, fouled off, high and inside. Four-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour by La Piedra. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Top of the second inning, 0-0 early here with the Blue Jays and Mariners. Mariners lead the ALCS 2-1, and obviously every Mariner fan wants to win here with Luis Castillo and obviously with Bryce Miller in Game 5 so we can move on to our very first World Series. 1-2 pitch, high and away. Four-seam fastball missing. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Dalton Varsho. Mando in the building, what's good? 2-2 pitch, fouled off, high and inside. Four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour by Castillo. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Dalton Varsho. Two-two pitch, fouled off, low and at the knees. Slider, 84 miles an hour off speed there by Luis Castillo. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Varsho in the box, Castillo on the mound. Big swing and a miss and a punch out there by La Piedra. My boy. There we go. Down goes Dalton Varsho. See ya. And Luis Castillo with a punch out. We like that electricity so far. Great job, Luis. And that is 2 away. Next up is second baseman Ernie Clement. Marine Bean in the building. What's good? It really, based off size and upper body, based off legs and arms, just because a guy is built a little bit bigger or thicker, a little bit more husky, doesn't mean that they're going to be a better pitcher than a guy that might be a little more skinny and wiry. Everyone obviously has a different shape and size, and you're going to get dominant pitchers that are smaller, and you're also going to get ones that are, looking like, someone that maybe could play linebacker. There's big facts with both of those. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Ernie Clement. But I like where Luis's head is in the game here early. He's hitting the strike zone. He's painting the corners, and he's also, standing out with some good aura and confidence. And that's what we need after George Kirby, definitely shit the bed yesterday. He was not good. 1-2 pitch, and Clement with a single right up the middle in front of Julio Rodriguez. Nice hit there by Ernie. Next up is Addison Barger in the 7-hole playing right field tonight. And we already have 2 outs, so let's get this over with quickly. First pitch from Luis Castillo to Addison Barger, high and away, four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Kathy in the building, what's good? Clyde in the building, what's good? 1-0 pitch, big swing and a miss right down the middle by Barger. 1 ball and 1 strike from Castillo to Barger in the top of the second with a runner at first and 2 out, 0-0 here early in ALCS game number 4. But completely different type of, vibe that you're getting out of Castillo compared to Kirby yesterday. No doubt about that. I mean, Castillo is pitching just like Bryce Miller and Logan Gilbert did in game 1 and game 2. Looking good. 1-1 pitch, high and outside. 4-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour by Castillo. 2 balls and 1 strike to Addison Barger. Yeah, Lincecum is a great example. Pedro Martinez, another. Not every guy is going to be built like that. And also looking at guys like at catcher. What a catch by J.P. Crawford. Great defense there for out number 3. And normally we think of catchers looking like Cal or Pudge Rodriguez, but we also had another San Francisco Giant that was undersized. That was a Hall of Famer in Buster Posey. So, you can be a skinny catcher, you can be a skinny pitcher, but really it comes down to skill set. And a great job by J.P. Crawford. He's got a hell of a skill set, and we have to be very thankful that we got great defense out of J.P. as well as Leo Rivas. Let's go, baby. Let's see who's up next here for the Seattle Mariners. Gained another sub. 47 subs to go to get to 23,100. And let's see who's up next here for the Seattle Mariners in the bottom of the second inning. Let's get on the board. What do you say? Next up for the Mariners in the 5-hole, first baseman Josh Naylor. Let's go Nails. Batting second, third baseman, a guy that is due for a home run. Good vibes only, Eugenio Suarez. And batting third, filling in for Victor Robles today, at least to start the game, Dominic Canzone. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Sounds like we're a couple away from 100. We're shooting for 200 likes, 100 on the Dono train, and 50 to 100 subs. And once we get to 200, we'll shoot for 300. Let's go. All right, baby, let's go M's. Bottom of the second inning, 0-0 Blue Jays and Mariners. We want to strike early and we want to strike often. First pitch from Scherzer to Naylor. Takes a strike swinging right down the middle. 0-1 count. Scherzer on the mound. Naylor in the box. Well, Niehaus is still in baseball heaven calling games. Riz is fantastic on the radio. And I think Goldie is good for TV. If you actually listen to a lot of the other teams and who they have, it's a little bit different. Back. See ya! Josh Naylor gets us on the board. Big home run, 394 feet to center field. And the big grumper strikes again. Let's go, Nails. Let's go. That's exactly what we needed, baby. And a great job there by Josh Naylor. Way to be, Nails. Right down the middle, making Max Scherzer pay. Great job. You know, you asked to get on the board. The sports gods, apparently they listen, right? We wanted to get on the board this inning, and there it is. Thank you, sports gods, for listening. Appreciate it. First pitch from Scherzer to Gino. Low and away. 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch. High and away with a four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour by Max Scherzer. 2 balls and no strikes to Eugenio Suarez. Let's go, baby. Tridents up. Let's go, M's. Our team. Our year. Seize the moment. You know, we're going to do everything that Ichiro said. We're going to seize the moment. Tridents up. 2-0 pitch. Fouled off right down the middle by Gino. 2 balls and 1 strike to Eugenio Suarez. And we got a few guys that are due for home runs. Now, we've had guys recently like Randy and Cal and Julio that have gotten it done. Polo has been awesome, right? Naylor is starting to get into a groove. But Gino, Dom, JP, Leo, if we can get any of those 4 guys at the bottom of the order to produce, watch out. And Gino flies out to right on a 2-1 pitch, and that is 1 away. And we know Gino is going to be a guy that strikes out a lot. That's just who he is, right? But when he does get hot, you know, it will end up benefiting us, you know, dramatically when that ends up happening. Next up is Dominic Canzone. Let's go, Dom. First pitch takes a strike swinging high and inside. 0-1 count. Scherzer on the mound. Dominic Canzone in the box. And be patient, Dom. If you want that Dom bomb, you got to wait until pitch 4, pitch 5. 0-1 pitch, fouled off, low and away. No balls and 2 strikes to Dominic Canzone. Come on, Dom. And again, we have enough guys, you know, in those bottom 4 with Gino, Dom, JP, and Leo that they have the power, you know, if they can just be patient enough to get the right pitch, you know, and obviously Gino is the most impatient out of everyone. So again, we know that JP and Leo and Dom at some point can work the count, but even Dom has been a little impatient. So hopefully he'll be able to be more like JP and Leo and wait for that proper pitch. 1-2 pitch. And Canzone grounds out to second, and that is 2 away. We're going to have to wait till later on for possibly a Dom bomb. Next up, shortstop in the 8-hole today, JP Crawford. Let's go, JP. And again, you've already made a couple great plays with your legs. Let's see if we can get something with your bat as well. Let's go, JP. First pitch to JP Crawford from Scherzer, fouled it off right down the middle. Four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour by Max Scherzer. 0-1 pitch, fouled off again right down the middle. Same location, same spot, 94 miles an hour with the four-seam fastball by Scherzer. JP Crawford behind in the count. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. And we got a Josh Naylor solo dinger to get us on the board. And again, that's a good sign. You know, getting, you know, obviously the pitch count up, getting a home run or 2 within the first 5 innings. And then hopefully we have that big inning that will blow up Max Scherzer, 1 to 4 runs, maybe around the 5th inning. And we can get him out maybe an inning or 2 early. And hopefully that'll lead to a meltdown or 2 by the Blue Jays pen. 0-2 pitch, fouled off, high and away into left field. Good souvenir for that fan there. No balls and 2 strikes to JP Crawford. 0-2 pitch, low and away. Changeup, off speed, 87 miles an hour by Scherzer. 1 ball and 2 strikes, nobody on and 2 outs, 1-0 Mariner lead. And again, you know, you got to strike early, and I'm really thankful the sports gods listen, you know. And again, we've been lucky with Julio, you know, being able to get homers early in games, but it's also kind of nice to see someone other than Julio helping us get on the board early. 1-2 pitch in play, and Crawford flies out to right, and that is the end of the 2nd inning, but not after Josh Naylor, the big grumper, Nails, does his job, and he does it very well. Great job, Josh. 394 feet to center field, 1-0 Mariners. Way to bring the electricity early, Josh Naylor. You the man, baby. End of the second inning, 1-0 Seattle. Let's see who's up next here in the top of the third. Gained another sub, 46 subs to go to 23,100. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 300 likes, 100 on the dono train, and we're looking to gain 50 to 100 subs. Let's go. Go to the top of the third inning, 1-0 Mariners after a Josh Naylor solo dinger. Great job. Next up for the Blue Jays, in the 8-hole, second baseman Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Batting second, in the 9-hole, shortstop Andres Jimenez. And back at the top of the order, 0 for 1, DHing George Springer. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Appreciate that, Rolando. Dirty 30 with the sub. Appreciate that. Griffey loves it. Let's go. Top of the third inning, 1-0 Seattle. Let's go, baby. Steven with a tenner. Appreciate that. Getting us started on the dono train. Stacks. Racks with a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. We're at 10. 90 to go to hit the first goal. Appreciate you. Shout out to Steven. 0-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. One pitch in play, and Kiner-Falefa doubles the left since it goes in Randy's area, and we know what happens when we get ground balls to Randy. That turns into doubles and triples. Leadoff double there by Kiner-Falefa. Come on, Gino. We got to be in better position. And not only that, we can't let any balls go to Randy. Next up is shortstop Andres Jimenez. First pitch, low and at the knees with the slider, 1-0 count. One-0 pitch, low and at the knees with the four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour by Luis Castillo. 2 balls and no strikes to Andres Jimenez. 2-0 pitch, big swing and a miss right down the middle. 2 balls and 1 strike to Andres Jimenez. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Top of the third inning, 1-0 Seattle with a Josh Naylor solo dinger to get us on the board first. 2-1 pitch, fouled off, high and inside. Four-seam fastball hitting 94 miles an hour on the line. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Andres Jimenez. Reflect with a 3-er. Appreciate you. Another $3 holla on the dono train. Appreciate you very much. We're at 13, 87 to go. Pitch fouled off, high and inside by Jimenez. 2 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at second with no outs. Top of the third inning, 1-0 Seattle. Sure, Mikes. 2-2 pitch, fouled off, high and inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Castillo to Jimenez. Castillo on the mound. Andres Jimenez in the box. Come on, Louise. Two-two pitch, high and away. Four-seam fastball missing by a few feet there. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Andres Jimenez. And most of the pitches Castillo has had today have been in range. Only one maybe pitch. That last one, that was a little bit outside. Everything else has been pretty close in the strike zone, and so far the strategy with him and Cal is working. Until that pitch right there. Back. See ya! Jimenez homers to right. Heiner Falefa on board, and just like that, 2-1 Blue Jays. And I was thinking, don't pitch it down the middle. Hopefully you go a little bit outside, and he caught him. Jimenez in the 9-hole, and just like that, again, we might have lost the battle yesterday. We're not losing the war. And again, the bats have to come alive. 2-1 Blue Jays. Come on, Castillo. And hopefully that's the only homer he gives up, this whole outing here today. Dave with a 20. Appreciate that. Another $20 holla on the Dono train. And again, it's early. You knew that the bats were going to come alive for both of these teams. Next up is Nathan Lucas. If you're going to hang it over the plate, they have enough good players there that they're going to make you pay the price. And just like Naylor, made Scherzer pay the price, Jimenez made Castillo pay the price as well. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike swinging, high and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike to Nathan Lucas. Yarsh in the building, what's good? HW in the building, what's good? 1-1 pitch, takes a strike looking low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Castillo to Lucas. 1-2 pitch, and Lucas with a single to center. You got to get a mound visit from Cal. Again, anytime we end up giving up more than, a couple hits back to back, we need a mound visit, especially with Vladdy up next. Take the time with the mound visit here. We're in the 3rd inning. Top of the 3rd inning, 2-1 Blue Jays. Obviously, the Mariners started off with all the Uncle Mo and the momentum, obviously with Josh Naylor in that solo dinger. But again, Jimenez striking back with Heiner Falefa on board, making it a 2-1 lead for Toronto. And Dodgers winning against the Brewers 3-1. So we obviously have a team that won at home, and they are up 3-0 in the series. And they are 1 game away from making it to the World Series and potentially going back to back. And Guerrero with a single up to center. We need a mound visit. Where was the mound visit against Vladdy? Can we get a mound visit, please? How many hits are we going to give up in a row before we have a mound visit? And then, a little late now with Woodworth coming out, and now with Alejandro Kirk, it should have already been, at that Vladimir Guerrero at bat. Come on, guys. Get on the same page here. Mound visits are critical, because, again, it gives a chance for the pitcher to breathe, and to get with a strategy with the catcher. And, for obviously Cal and, whether it be just Cal by himself or Cal and Woodworth to settle down whoever our starting pitcher or our bullpen is at the time. You know, again, it's just like a timeout in the NBA. You know, if you have a team that's scoring 10 in a row and you don't call timeout, it might turn into 20 in a row. So again, you need to be able to stop the bleeding, at least temporarily, and hopefully that will help. First pitch from Castillo to Kirk, high and inside, 1-0 count. Pitches low and at the knees. 2 balls and no strikes to Alejandro Kirk. Settle in here, Castillo. Again, you don't have to get punch outs to win. You just got to get pitches in the zone, not necessarily down the middle. You can paint the corners. 2-0 pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle. 2 balls and 1 strike to Alejandro Kirk. Kirk in the box. Luis Castillo on the mound. Top of the third inning, 2-1 Toronto. 2-1 pitch, high and inside. 3 balls and 1 strike to Alejandro Kirk. Come on, Ems. 3-1 pitch, takes a strike looking inside on the line. That could have been ball 4, you know, but again, we'll see how this ump ends up calling this game. 3-2 pitch, fouled off high and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Alejandro Kirk. Yeah, and again, you have to realize also, you know, it's not just our pitchers, you know, having meltdowns and being terrible. You also have to give credit to the other team. There's a reason why the Blue Jays, the Brewers, the Dodgers, and Mariners got to this point, because they're very good teams. And again, you know, just because our, you know, starting pitching may not be, you know, where it's at, remember, you know, we're not a top 3 pitching staff anymore. You know, we had 4 out of the 5 guys starting get hurt this year. So there are going to be some times where there's going to be some shaky moments, and there's a walk there to Alejandro Kirk. Now we got bases loaded with 1 out, and we need a double play desperately. Next up is center fielder Dalton Varsho. Can we get a slow dribbler up the middle to JP, a throw to Naylor, and then we get out of this inning unscathed? I mean, we're already down 2-1. Let's go. And La Piedra's night is done. And again, there were, you know, a few pitches that Luis didn't get calls on, you know, that if he did, maybe we're not sitting at this position. So, you know, the umps definitely do control, you know, some of the momentum, you know, in the matchups and whatnot. So, you know, but again, I think a mound visit from Cal would have been nice earlier before maybe that Vladdy at bat or the Vladdy at bat itself. But, you know, again, you know, you also have to give credit to this team. The Blue Jays, you know, are not going to go 4 games in a row scoring, you know, 0 or 1. You know, they're going to get hot at some point or another, regardless if they're at home or on the road. Now we just have to do our job and hopefully get some, you know, big RBIs, back-to-back hits, a few home runs, and then hope that, you know, whoever comes in can do a good job for us, and it'll be Gabe Spire. And again, we've seen the good Gabe, you know, get out of this situation with a double play. And then we've also seen the bad Gabe where he might end up giving up, not necessarily a grand salami, you know, but something, you know, that obviously wouldn't be good for us at this moment. So let's hope that we get the good Gabe here, because we don't want to be down, you know, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, or 6-1 here in the third inning. go, Gabe. We need you. All right, let's look at Castillo's final line before getting pulled. 2.1 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 1 K, 48 pitches, 32 strikes. But again, when you start giving up back-to-back, hits or more, then obviously an alarm, has been obviously raised, and a little early to pull a guy. But in a situation like this, when we're trying to make our first World Series, and considering that we waved the white flag yesterday after a bad performance out of George Kirby, and then we ended up using our worst guys in the pen, Carlos Vargas, Caleb Ferguson, and Luke Jackson, we can't afford to, throw in Gabe, Brash, Bizzardo, or Wu if needed. First pitch to Varsho, takes a strike looking, 0-1 count. Varsho in the box. Gabe Spire on the mound. 0-1 pitch, high and away with a 4-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour by Spire. 1 ball and 1 strike to Dalton Varsho. Top of the third inning, bases loaded, 2-1 Toronto. 1-1 pitch, takes a strike looking, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Dalton Varsho. Come on, Gabe. And the reason that, he pulled him is because obviously he was losing it, kind of like Kirby did. And again, if you end up waiting too long, the game's going to be, 5-1, 6-1, 7-1, and we might not be able to recover. Not to say that Gabe might not be able to do it either, but, at some point, if you don't use any of your guys yesterday, you have the ability to pull a guy early if needed. So it's not like we were going to have Castillo go 6-7 innings if he was going to play like Kirby yesterday. 2-2 pitch. Fouled off low and at the knees. So I don't mind Castillo getting pulled in that situation. It kind of makes sense, just wish he didn't give up so many batters in a row there. 2 balls, 2 strikes, bases loaded with 1 out. And we need a strikeout and a pop-up or a slow dribbler up the middle to JP, a throw to Naylor, a double play to get out of this. Let's go. Pitch fouled off, high and inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Dalton Varsho. Come on, Gabe. Pitch is high and away. 4-seam fastball missing there, 95 miles an hour. Count now is full, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Dalton Varsho. 3-2 pitch, low and away, and that brings in a run. And now the score is 3-1 Toronto. Come on, Gabe. We don't want to dig ourselves into this kind of hole. I mean, we don't necessarily want to go, game 6 or game 7, but again, I do have confidence in this team that we can end up winning 4. Obviously, winning it today and tomorrow would be best case scenario. But again, if we do have to go back to Toronto, I do believe we can still win this. First pitch from Spire to Clement, low and at the knees, 1-0 count. Come on, Gabe. And I'm not really sure if I would have went with Gabe Spire first out of everyone. Maybe I would have went with like Bizzardo or Brash first, if we were going to go this particular route. But 1-0 pitch, fouled off low and at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike to Ernie Clement. Top of the third inning, 3-1 Toronto with bases loaded and 1 out. We got to get out of this inning without too much damage. I mean, we're already down by 2. And the game, there's plenty of time. You know, people acting like the game is already over. We got plenty of time. And again, you know, if we're going to have a meltdown, that doesn't mean that the Blue Jays can't have a meltdown or 2 as well. All it takes is one bad pitcher, and you can score 1 to 5 runs in an inning. So 1-1 pitch, fouled off, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Ernie Clement. But again, we've seen, you know, the good Gabe, the good Bazardo, and the good Brash, and we've also seen all 3 of those guys have meltdowns, you know. So again, we just have to pray and hope that the damage is minimal, and we're already down 2, and hopefully it'll stay that way. 1-1 pitch, fouled off, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Ernie Clement. 1-2 pitch, high and inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Spire to Clement. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and that's the Gabe that I was looking for. A big punch out there from Gabe Spire. Way to bring that electricity after walking that individual and bringing home 1. 2 away. Next up is Addison Barger. Let's get 1 more out. Come on, Mariner Moose, we need you. Come on, baby. Come on, Gabe. First pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle, 0-1 count. Top of the third inning, 3-1 Toronto. Bases loaded with 2 outs. Spire on the mound, Barger in the box. Oh, 1 pitch, low and away, sinker missing. Even though it hits the strike zone in the corner, another missed call. Should be 0-2 right now, not 1-1. But again, we're kind of used to, you know, having these umps not really call it right down the middle. 1-1 pitch, takes a strike looking high and away. That would have been strike 3, inning over. 1 ball and 2 strikes with bases loaded and 2 outs. Come on, baby. 1 more strike. If they're going to, you know, not give us certain calls, let's go. 1-2 pitch, and that is strike 3 looking. There we go. And Gabe Spire does a great job, you know. And again, we didn't really know if we were going to get the good Gabe or the bad Gabe. Yeah, he ended up walking a guy and 1 run came in. But think about how bad that could have been if we would have kept Castillo in. Maybe we're down 7-1 right now. So, and maybe the inning is still going. So, great job by Gabe to at least give us a chance to still be in this game. Great fucking job. Let's go. Let's go to the bottom of the third inning, and let's see if we can get a run or 2 to be able to get to 3-2 or tie it up 3-3. Next up for the Mariners in the 9-hole, welcome to the lineup, second baseman Leo Rivas. We need Leo to, you know, get singles, doubles, ground rule doubles, home runs, get on base, steal a bag, bunt, do everything that we know that you can do. Let's go, Leo. Batting second, 0 for 1, left fielder Randy Arozarena. Had a late home run late last night. We're going to need one maybe today. And batting third, 0 for 0 with a walk, big dumper Cal Raleigh, who also went yard late with Randy. And hopefully we can get Randy and Cal bats to light up here tonight. In 4 more subs since the last commercial break, 42 subs to go to 23,100. Panthers fan with a $5, appreciate you. Stacks, Racks with a little Cactus Jack, bang bang. Panthers fan with a $5, appreciate you. We got plenty of time. You just got to have faith. You know, you can't have a meltdown yourself, you know, just based on, you know, a few things that happen early in the matchup. Let's go. You know, once starting pitching goes out, you know, the game resets. So I think a lot of amateur, you know, baseball fans and fair weather fans and bandwagon fans, you know, when they see a lead early, you know, they're not real fans, you know, they're going to give up and they don't care who wins or loses. You know, it's a kind of a fake front, you know, but for a lot of us, you know, we know that there's going to be games where we get off to a big lead. And there's also going to be times where we're going to have to climb back and we're going to have to battle. And again, we might have lost the battle yesterday, but we're not losing the war. First pitch, takes a strike looking high and away. 0-1 count, which should have been probably called ball, but is called strike. And pitches that are outside are 50-50 with this ump, because you get the second pitch, which is in the same spot, and then that one he calls ball. 1 ball and 1 strike to Leo Rivas. A lot of inconsistencies from this ump already. Rivas in the box. Max Scherzer on the mound. 1-1 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to Leo Rivas. Let's go, Leo. 2-1 pitch, low and at the knees. 3 balls and 1 strike to Leo Rivas. Let's see if we can end up getting a walk here. You know, the Mariners are not the only organization that can have a meltdown. And there we go, Rivas with the walk. Love me some Leo. Leo to first. Next up is Randy Arozarena. And let's see if we can get Randy on with a single or if he can get walked. And then potentially we'll have a chance for maybe a big home run by Julio or Polo. First pitch to Arozarena. Takes a strike looking right down the middle. 0-1 count. Randy in the box. Max Scherzer on the mound. Oh, 1 pitch, and Randy lines out to left, and that is 1 away. Down goes Arozarena. Hopefully at some point that'll land in between the gap. Next up is the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Let's go, Cal. Trident's up. We need you, baby. Sarah in the building. What's good? First pitch, low and at the knees. Change up, 86 miles an hour off speed by Scherzer. 1-0 count. Bottom of the third inning, 3-1 Toronto. With a runner at first, Rivas with 1 out. Let's see if we can get 1 or 2 runs this inning. Let's go. Let's go. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Bottom of the third inning, 3-1 Toronto, runner at first with 1 out. Scherzer on the mound, Cal Raleigh in the box. Throw to first to Leo. God, I hope Leo's not out there. Leo might have gotten tagged out at first base, sleepwalking. I mean, if it's his first part of his fingers, he might have been able to get in there just barely right before the tag. But I mean, that's close. Now Now they're looking over this particular play. I hope Leo is safe. And they're looking at it right now. I mean, obviously, if you're looking at just the fingers, the very tip of the finger hitting the base. But again, that was a good throw by Scherzer and a good tag by Vladdy. And we've had a hard time getting guys, just on. We don't want to, miss an opportunity. Yeah, most guys do wear the mitt. Now, runner is out. Damn it, Leo. Ay. That's not what we needed. Come on, Leo. We got to be better. Still love Rivas. Next up still is Big Dumper Cal Raleigh. 1-1 pitch, fouled off, high and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Scherzer to Big Dumper. It's the 3rd inning, You can definitely tell the people that have watched baseball for a long time and the people that have not. 1-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and down goes Cal, and that is out number 3. Got plenty of time. End of the 3rd inning, 3-1 Toronto. Let's see who's up next here in the top of the 4th. 3-1 Toronto lead. Leading off 1-for-1 with a run, second baseman Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Batting second, 1-for-1 with a run with 2 ribbies. Shortstop Andres Jimenez, who homered to right in the top of the 3rd inning with Kiner-Falefa on board. And batting third, 0-for-2, DHing George Springer. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. It's not over yet. Okay, 2 more subs since the last commercial break. 40 subs to go to 23,100. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 300 likes, 100 on the Dono train, and 50 to 100 subs. We got over 500 in the room. Where are we at on the likes based off the mods and the regulars in the room? Yeah, Robles isn't in the lineup. Dom is in right field. Leo is playing second. JP's at short. Robles can't play second base. And you got to remember, this is the playoffs. This is the ALCS. Nothing is ever going to come easy, And again, if we're going to make it to our very first World Series, I know it looked great winning those first 2 games on the road. But again, for some fans thinking it was just going to be easy that we were going to win 4 games in a row and sweep this Blue Jay team and make the World Series, you got to wake up. You have to realize, we're not the Dodgers, against the Brewers. Again, we have a talented team like Los Angeles, but they have the experience. We do not. So again, even if it ends up going, to game 6 or game 7, you just have to have the faith that we're going to find a way, and we still have time to win this game. It's in the top of the 4th. Obviously things are going against us, but hell, things have gone against us a good chunk of the year, and we've been able to fight back, being down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 runs many, many times. So what makes this day any different? We just have to wait for them to have a meltdown or 2, and we can get back in it. I mean, if you're looking at the team top to bottom, roster-wise, pitchers, bullpen, bench, we have the better team. We're like the Dodgers, the teams are deeper, but it's all about performance and execution. Can our guys execute, in this situation that we haven't been in before? And we're starting to find out in some cases we can on the road, and at home, obviously, it's been a little different. First pitch fouled off right down the middle by Kiner Falefa, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, high and inside, 1 ball and 1 strike to Kiner Falefa. Yeah, this is Wilson's first year. He's never even managed before. So they just threw a former catcher, former player, with an amazing, roster and said, here you go. And obviously Seitzer and Edgar and some of the assistants have helped, with certain things. But obviously Dan is making it feels like most of the calls on his own. And again, there's going to be things that we agree with. There's going to be things that we disagree with. But at the end of the day, we're in the ALCS. All right, appreciate every moment that we have and have some faith. 1-2 pitch, fouled off low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Spire to Kiner Falefa. One-two pitch, fouled off, high and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Spire to Kiner Falefa. One-two pitch, fouled off, high and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Kiner Falefa. Top of the 4th inning, 3-1 Toronto. One-two pitch, fouled off, low and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Spire to Kiner Falefa. Top of the 4th inning, 3-1 Toronto lead. Come on, baby, let's go. Up towards third base, foul. Come on, Gabe. Come on, baby, let's go. Popped up, and Kiner Falefa with a little bloop single there in the gap. And Julio cannot get to it in time. And a single there by Kiner Falefa, who's making the most of his time, because obviously we know, with Anthony Santander in that back, obviously an opening emerged, and Kiner Falefa is taking advantage. Next up is shortstop in the 9-hole, Andres Jimenez, who's been very good in the 9-hole against us in this series. And a bunt there, throw to first. And a nice sacrifice there, Kiner Falefa to second. And that is 1 away. Next up is George Springer. First pitch, high and inside, 1-0 count. Top of the 4th inning, 3-1 Toronto. Runner at second with 1 out. Spire on the mound, Springer in the box. Come on, Gabe. And hits into Randy's area. Of course, it ends up being a ground ball. Run, Randy! Jesus Christ. And that's another RBI there. Springer with a double. Randy is lazy. 4-1 Toronto. Come on! Next up, left fielder Nathan Lucas. Crazy, how good Seattle did in Toronto, and how good Toronto is doing in Seattle. You know, we definitely pictured the opposite happening. You know, the home field advantage we felt was going to be a factor, but so far in this series, road teams are finding a way. 0-1 pitch fouled off right down the middle. No balls and 2 strikes to Nathan Lucas. And that pitch gets fouled off into left field by Nathan Lucas. Top of the 4th inning, 4-1 Toronto. 0-2 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Nathan Lucas. Yeah, but you also have to understand, if you actually understand baseball, it's not just the Mariners are pitching terribly. You know, the other team is hitting well, you know, and again, there might be these same type of pitches that we would have thrown to Detroit, you know, and we might have been able to get guys out. But again, we're in the ALCS, you know, we're 1 series away from the World Series. We're playing with the 4 best teams that are left. So again, every level that you go, the competition gets harder. You know, it's not going to be easy. You know, people that thought just because we got 2 games in Toronto and we were going to sweep this team, you know, obviously that's not what's happening. And a little slow dribbler. JP is there. Throw to first. And that is 2 away. Next up, 1 for 2. First baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Let's go, Gabe. I mean, especially if we took out Castillo as early as we did. And we will see if Gabe's day is done here. And we'll be interested to see if we go with Brash or Bizzardo here next. All right, Gabe is done. And I wouldn't say that Gabe did a good job. Obviously gave up 2 runs, so, you know, not ideal. But again, you know, we're only down 3, you know, and again, you know, sometimes we're going to start fast, you know, and then we don't do anything late, you know, and again, sometimes we'll, you know, get off to a decent start and then have to fight back. I mean, that's kind of been the story for us, you know, so just because we're down, you know, doesn't mean that we're down and out. You know, again, we can still have a meltdown by the Blue Jay pitchers. And again, all it takes is 1 bad pitcher in an inning, you know, to end up giving up 1 to 4 runs and we're right back in it. So let's see who they're bringing in here for Seattle. It's going to be Matt Brash. And let's pray that we get the good Brash, not the bad. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. It's not over yet. Have some faith. Top of the 4th inning, 4-1 Toronto, runner at third with 2 outs. Let's keep that runner at third. And then again, you know, we just need to be able to get a hit here, a walk there. And then, you know, again, we can end up hitting a 2-run jack or a 3-run bomb and we're right back in it. You know, it just takes patience. First pitch to Vladdy, low and away by Matt Brash, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, low and away with the slider, off speed, 84 miles an hour to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. 2 balls and no strikes with a runner at third. And wild pitch as Springer scores. Come on, Matt. Jesus. 5-1 Toronto after the wild pitch, and that's not what we wanted from Brash coming in. And again, we didn't use any of our quality guys yesterday, but again, momentum obviously is, starting to catch on here with Toronto. And again, we can't afford for Spire, Brash, and Bizzardo to be bad. And we haven't seen Edouard Bizzardo yet, and I assume we will. But again, we can't be giving them all these cheap, easy opportunities if we want to try to win this game. And Canzone is there in right field, and that is out number 3. No, I don't think we pulled Castillo too early because, when you have bases loaded and he's giving up hit after hit after hit, and you got to think on how much pressure there is, for a guy that just sits and then all of a sudden has to get hot and be great right away. Again, it's not easy to be a bullpen guy. And even though we've had some pretty good ones, some guys crack under the pressure. And also you got to give credit to the Blue Jays. They have a good team with really good hitters. It's not as easy as going through the lineup against the Tigers where they didn't have as much talent. And now you go in the next round and you see if you want to make the World Series, you have to beat someone that's like on your level. Even though we feel that our roster is better than theirs, are our guys going to step up? And obviously at this point, the Blue Jays are feeding off the momentum of obviously game 3, just like how we fed off the momentum of winning game 1 in Toronto and we won game 2. So, that's just the way that this series is going. It's the most even series, and it was the most even series when we played Detroit. It was the most even series in this matchup. And we obviously know the Dodgers are up 3-0. And, they're going to be advancing. The Brewers might win a game, if they can prevent the sweep. But it's not like they're going to probably win any more than that, more than likely. And again, the Dodgers, look like the best team, at the moment. But if we can find a way to get there, normally our bullpen will be better than theirs. But again, we just have to take it one game at a time. Sarah with a $5. Appreciate you. Stacks. Rax with a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. We're at another 5 on the Dono train. And again, all it's going to take is, a 3-run jack to get it to 5-4, and we're right back in it. So, woohoo with a $10. Appreciate you. Another $10 holla on the Dono train. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Next up for the Mariners, 0-for-0 with a base on ball, Julio Rodriguez. Batting second, 0-for-1, DHing Jorge Polanco. And batting third, 1-for-1 with a run, RBI, and a solo dinger to get us on the board, first baseman Josh Naylor. Yeah, but again, you can definitely tell who the real fans are and the fans that, are only rooting for the team when they're good. And they haven't watched, the ups and the downs and the peaks and the valleys that we've had. The big comebacks where we've been down by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 runs and come back and won. Again, no one said this was going to be easy. At times it's going to be ugly. You just have to have the faith. First pitch in there, takes a strike looking, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, high and inside. No balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. Oh-2 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, Julio. We just have to chip away, try to get it from 5-1 to 5-2, 5-2 to 5-3, 5-3 to 5-4. Julio strikes out swinging, and that is 1 away. And obviously, once Scherzer goes out, the game should open up. We know that the Blue Jay bullpen is not very good. We have a better bullpen than them, even though our bullpen has struggled, at times. but again, we should be able to, manufacture some RBIs and home runs before this game is up. Next up is Jorge Polanco. Let's go, Mr. October. We need you, Polo. First pitch, fouled off, high and away, 0-1 count. We're great with 2 outs. We're great in the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. Sometimes we're going to struggle, in the first 4 or 5 innings, first 6 innings. Once that starting pitcher, ends up going out, then the game opens up and it resets. And you just hope that you're not down by 1 billion when that happens. But right now we're down by 4. 0-1 pitch, takes a strike looking low and away. No balls and 2 strikes to Jorge Polanco. Bottom of the 4th inning, 5-1 Toronto. 0-2 pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Scherzer to Polo. And you're definitely getting some favoritism for the calls with Toronto pitching outside, getting strikes, and then when we do it, we get balls. So. And Polo flies out to right, and that is 2 away. And you also have to realize, baseball's fucking hard. It's the hardest sport to play, And everyone can criticize, here and there, but it's not like any of us could do any better. I mean, a lot of these guys are getting paid millions of dollars hitting 2 times out of 10 or 3 times out of 10. It's not one of those things where you have guys hitting 8 out of 10 batting 800, or even guys hitting 5 out of 10 hitting 500. It just doesn't exist. First pitch fouled off, high and away, 0-1 count. Let's go, Naylor. 0-1 pitch, fouled off again, high and inside. No balls and 2 strikes to Josh Naylor. Especially some of these umps that we've seen in the Tiger series and the Blue Jays series when they're missing 10, 20, 30 calls. It's not ideal. You just have to hope that you can fight that adversity and karma will find a way. Let's go, Naylor. 1 for 1 with a solo home run in the 2nd. But we're going to need a hell of a lot more than that here. And once we get Scherzer out, the game will open up. 0-2 pitch. And Naylor with a nice single towards left field. There we go. Nice job, Josh. Next up is Eugenio Suarez. If Gino gets actually some connection on this at-bat, and he homers, it could be 5-3, and we're right back in it. Let's go, Gino. Find a way. Single, double, triple, home run. Get plunked. Get walked. Just get on base. Come on, Gino. First pitch, fouled off. 0-1 count. Bottom of the 4th inning, 5-1 Toronto. Runner at first with 2 outs. Even if Gino doesn't homer, he can hit it line drive down that third base line into left field. And if you get something like that, you might be able to score someone from first. Throw to first. And Naylor is safe. 0-1 pitch, takes a strike swinging low and away. Come on, Gino, you got to be better than that to swing at that garbage. No balls and 2 strikes to Eugenio Suarez. (0-2 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Eugenio Suarez. Yeah, but nobody's surprised that Gino doesn't get hits every day. You know, we already knew coming in that he wasn't going to be that guy. You can hit 50 home runs, but how many times do you strike out? 1 billion. That's why we're not going to re-sign him after this year. And Naylor is more of a priority. Like, we love the good vibes, but his defense isn't as good as it was when he was here a few years ago. And we know he's a streaky hitter, and he's going to strike out a lot. He's going to fuck up a lot, but there will be a point where he will help us win. You know, you have to understand who you have. And down he goes. And that is out number 3. You know, he's not going to be as consistent as everyone else in the lineup. You know, if anything, he's going to be the least consistent guy. But with that being said, when he heats up and he ends up going 3 for 5 and, you know, ends up hitting a home run for like a 3-run jack, that could be the difference in us winning game 6 or game 7 or not. So again, you know, he's not going to be a guy that will show up and show out every game in the series, but he might be able to do something in a game or 2. Now, is that something that, you know, we like? No. We would love for a guy to be able to show up almost every day, but that's just not who Gino is. So if you understand who you're dealing with, you know, have some realistic expectations, you know, knowing that he's not going to be as consistent as guys like Julio and Cal and Polo and others. Recognize the lineup. Recognize who is on the team. End of the 4th inning, 5-1 Blue Jays. Let's go to the top of the 5th inning, 5-1 Toronto. Let's see who's up next here for the Blue Jays. Next up for the Blue Jays, 0 for 1 with a base on ball, catcher in the 4-hole, Alejandro Kirk. Batting second, 0 for 1 with an RBI, base on ball, and a K, center fielder Dalton Varsho. And batting third, 1 for 2 with a K, second baseman Ernie Clement. Trident's up, seize the moment. Let's go. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 300 likes, 100 on the Dono train. And we need 40 subs to be able to get to our goal of 23,100. Where are we at on the likes right now? We got 438 in the room. Where are we at? Brash is still out there. First pitch to Alejandro Kirk. Should be a strike, called ball. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I get it. We're down by 4, but this ump is not calling anything for the Mariners. It feels like we're playing the Yankees in the Bronx where it's like 90-10 and the Yankees are getting everything and we're getting nothing. Like, we're getting pitches that are in the box, you know, barely on the line, and they're getting that being called ball. And then you're getting pitches that are a couple inches outside, and they're going to give that call as a strike to them. But when we do it, we get a ball. And something's got to give here. Terrible umping here today. And normally we don't say that every game, and we know the ABS is definitely desperately needed. And I don't mind if you're going to call a bad game, as long as you're doing it for both teams. Don't show favoritism, and it's definitely very lopsided here today. 1-1 pitch in play, and Kirk grounds out to the shortstop. JP is there, throw to Naylor, and that is 1 away. And again, if you're going to be pitching 2 or 3 inches outside, make sure you're calling that a strike for both teams, not just Toronto. Next up is Dalton Varsho. First pitch, high and away. Slider missing, 85 miles an hour by Matt Brash. 1-0 count. Come on, baby. We need a rally. 1-0 pitch, and Varsho flies up and out at center, and that is 2 away. And we got Julio Rodriguez out there in the no-fly zone, always doing Julio types of thing. 2 outs. Nice job, J-Rod. Next up is Ernie Clement. And a little slow dribbler there, right to JP. And that is out number 3 to Naylor. Good inning there by Brash. And again, let's see if we can get some offense going, if we can get to 2 or 3 here relatively soon. And hopefully we'll play some small ball, maybe try to drop a bunt down. And hopefully we can get Scherzer to have a little bit of a mini meltdown here at some point. Let's go to the bottom of the 5th. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 1, Dominic Canzone. A Dom bomb would be great at some point. Batting second, 0 for 1, shortstop J.P. Crawford, whose defense has been magnificent up to this point. Great job, J.P. And batting third, getting walked on his first appearance, but getting thrown out at first. We can't have you sleepwalking. I love you, Leo Rivas. Let's go, Leo. You got to make up for that blunder there. 5-1 Toronto here in the bottom of the 5th. We're halfway through the matchup, but we still have time. We just got to chip away. Libra in the building. What's good? Yeah, I'm curious to see when the report cards come out for the ump here today on how many missed calls we're going to have. Is it going to be 15? Is it going to be 20? Is it going to be 30? I have a feeling it's going to be a very, very high number. Got to have the faith, baby. Let's go. Just got to chip away. Just got to get that big 2-run jack, 3-run bomb, or find a way to get an RBI at some point or another. Going to the bottom of the 5th inning, 5-1 Toronto. We've already got Naylor to step up, but we need others to do their job as well. First pitch from Scherzer to Dominic Canzone, fouls it off, 0-1 count. All right, All Day says we're at 176, 24 more to get to 200, and we need more help than just All Day. So if we can get some of the regulars to help out with that as well, we can get those numbers done. Especially with almost 500 in the room. Bottom of the 5th, 5-1 Toronto. Nobody on with no outs. 0-1 pitch. And a nice single there by Dominic Canzone. Nice job, Dom. And again, obviously we know Dom has struggled. But again, at some point, guys will start to heat up. Nice job by Dominic Canzone. Good job. Next up is shortstop J.P. Crawford. Let's go, J.P. Let's see if we can find a way to get back-to-back-to-back hits or get back-to-back-to-back guys on base. Let's go. First pitch fouled off, low and at the knees, 0-1 count. Oh-1 pitch, high and inside, 1 ball and 1 strike to J.P. Crawford. I mean, some of these umps are obviously too old. Some of them definitely need contacts or LASIK, and some just don't care. They're getting paid and they have obviously some beef with certain players and certain teams, and they're going to call the game the way they want to call it, regardless if that's right or not. And, when the ABS comes into play, a lot of these guys that are just kind of going through the motions are going to be held responsible. And a lot of these guys should have been held responsible or not even, in the league, at this moment. So hopefully it'll get better, but, we already know how umping typically is. Pitch is inside, 2 balls and 1 strike to JP Crawford. 2-1 pitch, low and away. Good eye by JP. 3 balls and 1 strike to JP Crawford. We got a runner at first and no outs. Let's go, JP. Next up is Leo Rivas. Come on, JP. Even if we can force a walk here and get runners at first and second would be fantastic. Bottom of the 5th, 5-1, Toronto. And Crawford flies out to center. Wish he would have been able to work the count just a little bit more and possibly got the walk, but it is what it is, 1 away. Next up is Leo Rivas. Come on, Leo. Got to make up for sleepwalking at first and getting thrown out. Come on, Leo. A journeyman that's been in the farm system for 10 years with 3 different teams, and again, has been a good player. Let's go, Leo. First pitch, low and at the knees, 1-0 count. Rivas in the box. Scherzer on the mound. Let's go, Leo. One-0 pitch, takes a strike, looking low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Leo Rivas. Come on, Ams. I mean, the faster that we can get to 2 to 3 runs, it'll feel a little bit better than obviously sitting at a 4-run deficit. We just got to chip away. 1-1 pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and 1 strike to Leo Rivas. Come on, Leo. 2-1 pitch, high and away. Count now is 3 balls and 1 strike to Leo Rivas. And again, don't pop up and pop out like JP did. Work this count. Come on, Leo. You got good baseball IQ. He's got a good eye. Bottom of the 5th, 5-1 Toronto. Runner at first with 1 out. Scherzer on the mound. Leo Rivas in the box. 3 balls, 1 strike. Runner at first with 1 out. Come on, Leo. And Rivas, but Barger is on the run. Nice catch by Addison Barger there. Just not a lot of luck, hitting these baseballs in the gap. They haven't been able to fall just yet, but some of our players are hitting it pretty hard. Exit velos are pretty good, but again, good defense there by Toronto. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 2, Randy Arozarena. And once Scherzer exits, we'll be good. Come on, Randy. First pitch, low and away. 1-0 count. And he did hit a home run late in yesterday's matchup. So did Cal. So hopefully that momentum will carry over for Randy and Cal in this game as well. We're going to need it. One pitch, takes a strike, looking right down the middle. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. Come on, Randy. Bottom of the 5th, 5-1 Toronto. Runner at first with 2 outs. Scherzer on the mound, Arozarena in the box. Come on, Randy. Bengals 17, Steelers 10, huh? 1-2 pitch, and Arosarena strikes out swinging, and that is out number 3. End of the 5th inning, 5-1 Toronto. And it shows you, with Bieber and Scherzer, they may be old. They may not be as good as they were back in the day, but obviously they're a godsend for Toronto, and they're playing very, very well in back-to-back games against Seattle. End of the 5th inning, 5-1 Toronto. And obviously we know Scherzer will be exiting momentarily at some point. And a few more subs, 38 subs to go to 23,100. And he's on 74 pitches, so hopefully he'll be out of there by the 6th inning after the 6th inning ends, hopefully. And instead of bringing in Eduard Bizardo, we're bringing in Carlos Vargas. What are we doing? Why are we bringing in Carlos Vargas if he pitched yesterday? Why are we not bringing in Eduard Bizardo? Do we really want to go with Carlos Vargas in this situation? What are we doing, Dan? I mean, we're not waving the white flag in this game like we did yesterday. I don't know if I agree with this. Vargas coming in. Next up is Addison Barger, 0 for 2 with a K. Batting second baseman Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, and batting third, shortstop Andres Jimenez. We with the tour. I disagree. $2 holla. Appreciate you. I mean, we don't really know how this is all, going to play out. As long as we advance, Dodgers might end up winning in 4 games and sweeping, and we might have to, try to win this in 7 games, maybe 6 games, but it could go 7, and again, we just have to try to do our best in every single matchup. And again, we had the most even matchup out of everyone that was in the DS series. Obviously with us and the Tigers, it was the most even. And now we're going, in a series with the Blue Jays, and obviously it's the most even, and it's definitely lopsided with the Dodgers and the Brewers. So, and Barger, and a big double there. We got to have balls stop being hit to Randy, because every game Randy gets balls in his area, we lose, and again, that lack of speed and the lack of hustle is hurting us. And why the hell is Carlos Vargas in the game and not Eduard Bizardo? Someone tell me. Nice hit there by Barger. Next up is Kiner-Falefa. First pitch, low and at the knees, 1-0 count. Top of the 6th inning, 5-1 Toronto. Ay, ay, ay. One pitch, bunts it foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Kiner-Falefa. Top of the 6th inning, 5-1 Toronto with a runner at second and no outs. Vargas on the mound, Kiner-Falefa in the box. You guys are acting like we're down 3-0 in the series, and this is the game that's going to have the Blue Jays clinch to go to the World Series. Relax. It's going to be a long series. It's not going to go, as what some people thought, like a sweep. Just wasn't going to happen ever. Kiner Falefa grounds out to the pitcher, and that is 1 away. You know, it's going to probably have to go 6 or 7 games, and we'll find out who the better team is at that point. Like, relax. You guys are overreacting, and you can definitely tell, you know, who's been someone that watches every game beginning to end and people that are watching here and there. Like, relax. We're not down 3-0, and this is like the elimination game. You know, last time I checked, it's 2-1 Seattle, and it's about more than likely to be 2-2, but then we still got a few games to go. And then all the Mariners got to do is win 2 out of the next 3. And that same thing goes for the Blue Jays. Relax. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike swinging high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Andres Gimenez. 1-1 pitch, fouled off right down the middle. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Andres Gimenez. Woohoo with a tour, appreciate you. Another $2 holla on the Dono train. One-two pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Andres Gimenez. And you also have to realize, you know, for a lot of us, you know, the Mariners have only had like 4 or 5 good teams out of like 40 years. And we've had 2 good teams in the last 3. So, you know, you have to understand what you're dealing with this team. And Naylor with the toe tap, and that is 2 away. Next up, 1 for 3 with a run and an RBI, George Springer. First pitch from Vargas to Springer, fouls it off right down the middle, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike from Vargas to Springer. One pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike with a runner at third and 2 outs. Top of the 6th inning, 5-1 Toronto. Still got to believe, man. It's not over. I mean, not everyone is going to be able to handle stress and pressure situations. A lot of people fold, you know. You got to be able to be mentally strong. 2-1 pitch and play, and Springer lines out to center, and that is out number 3. And who would have thought Carlos Vargas actually did an okay job? Nice job, Carlos. Obviously, you weren't good yesterday, but better today. And now it's time for the bats to come alive, and we need to score 1 or 2 runs this inning. I mean, preferably 3 or 4, but if we can get 1 or 2, that'll be a start. And we have to assume that Scherzer will be in for 1 or 2 more innings, but hopefully just 1. And if we can do a little bit of damage here, then this might be the last inning for Scherzer, which would be good for us. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 1 with a base on ball and a K, the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. And if there was ever a time that we needed Cal to get on base or to do one of these, it would be now. Batting second, 0 for 1 with a base on ball and a K, Julio Rodriguez. Tridents up, let's go Julio. And batting third, in the 4-hole, DHing today, Mr. October, 0 for 2 so far, Jorge Polanco. Bring that electricity, Polo. We need you, baby. Let's go. But we got 3 guys in the lineup that can all go yard and all can get singles or doubles. Let's see if we can get a mini rally started here. $43 to $250. Let's get there. Don't let the negativity of others in the room, affect your mental mindset of this game and this series. Haters are going to be haters. People are going to overreact, and again, no one ever said that this was going to be easy. We're in uncharted territory. It's not like we go to the ALCS every year. It's not like we win the AL West every year. It's not like we go to the playoffs every year. So again, understand what we're dealing with. And again, it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a war. And again, we just have to take it pitch by pitch, game by game, and have faith. The Mariners are like life. Sometimes shit is not fair. Sometimes the umps are going to be against us. Sometimes, we're going to have our backs against the wall. But the reason that we fell in love with this team, is that the management and the ownership actually finally decided to spend some money and bring some guys in like Randy last year. And then obviously with Naylor and Gino this year. And we've been able to overachieve with an inexperienced manager at times that, makes good, calls and other times doesn't. And we just have to be happy, that we've gotten to this point, but we're not satisfied. And again, for us to be able to make our dreams come true, and to be able to make a World Series and win, we're going to have to fight a lot of adversity. It's not like we're like the Dodgers that go here every single year with the expectations of winning it all. It's like a David Goliath story, and we're not Goliath. 0-1 pitch, and Raleigh flies out to right, and that is 1 away. Next up is center fielder Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, J-Rod. We need that bat to come alive, baby. Let's go. Start the rally for us. All it takes is one person. Let's go. First pitch from Scherzer to Julio. Takes a strike looking right there on the line. 0-1 count. One pitch fouled off high and inside. No balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. Bottom of the 6th inning, 5-1 Toronto. Obviously, the away teams are, finding ways to get the job done up to this point. As Julio strikes out swinging, and that is 2 away. But again, worst case scenario, we lose all 3 games at home, and then we win both games in Toronto, and then we end up winning in Game 7. Obviously it's not the smoothest transition, on trying to be able to make the World Series for the very first time, but that's one possibility. Or we drop this game and we score a few more runs, but we don't come back. We win on Game 5, and then we see what happens in Game 6 and Game 7 on the road in Toronto. Again, there's a lot of different ways that the series can play out, but I don't think Toronto is going to win 4 games in a row, and again, this is the most even matchup. We know that the Brewers are on the brink of elimination already, and, for us Mariner fans, we're not the Brewers, okay? Just got to have that faith, Again, it's not going to always be easy. It's going to be tough sometimes. 0-1 pitch. Takes a strike swinging low and away. No balls and 2 strikes to Jorge Polanco. And again, Bieber and Scherzer have pitched well, even though that they're old OGs, but, having those guys on the roster saved the Toronto Blue Jays in this series. There's no doubt about that. 0-2 pitch. Fouled off low and at the knees. No balls and 2 strikes to Jorge Polanco. I mean, realistically, both teams are huge underdogs, whether it be the Seattle Mariners or the Toronto Blue Jays. No one is going to pick them to win it. You know, they're going to go Dodgers, and it'll be like a David Goliath situation where it'll be 90% people, you know, are going to go Dodgers and 10% are going to go with the underdog, whether it be Toronto or Seattle. And, you know, we'll see how it goes. 0-2 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Jorge Polanco. Woohoo with a $5. Appreciate you. Another $5 holla on the Dono train. Two pitch. Low and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Jorge Polanco. And if we can just get fucking Scherzer out of this game and get a meltdown by a couple pitchers, we can come back. Pitch fouled off, low and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Jorge Polanco. I mean, the way this Mariner team is built, I mean, honestly, it wouldn't shock me any way that the series, you know, turns out. But if you want to win in the most Mariner way possible, it would be losing 3 games in a row and then winning both games in Toronto and winning Game 7 in Toronto and making the World Series. And obviously at that point, we're going to be a little gassed, you know, going 7 games where the Dodgers are probably going 4 and a sweep. But again, if we're going to win, that would probably be one possibility. And hopefully we don't have to wait till Game 7 for that to happen. But as Polo gets the walk, but you know, you have to kind of expect the unexpected with this team. And that is at the end of Scherzer. We finally got his ass out of there. And next up is Josh Naylor. And let's look at Scherzer's final line. And Max doesn't want to leave. He's going to argue and cry and moan and whatnot. Obviously, he's very an emotional guy. 5.2 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 4 walks, 5 Ks, 87 pitches, and 55 strikes. Bieber and Scherzer did very, very well. And again, now it's just up to the rest of the guys, starting with this guy that got us on the board, Josh Naylor. And again, it's like, you know, we're able to score first in Seattle, but can we score after the initial hype of getting on the board first? And, you know, getting on the board first and doing nothing the rest of the game, you know, that's not going to be a winning formula. You know, we have to make sure that we're active. But again, you do have to give the Blue Jays credit. They've been playing great here, obviously on the road, just like how we played great in Toronto in the first 2 games. So Matt with a $5. You just got to keep believing, man. Appreciate you. $5 holla. You know, and again, some people have been fans of this team for a year or 2. Some people have been fans for 5 to 10. Others have been fans for 20, 30, 40 years plus. You know, and just because, you know, we didn't have a deep enough team back then doesn't mean that we're going to fail this year. So again, you know, it's going to be one of those things where, you know, we're going to have the adversity. We're going to play bad at times. We're going to have the umps go against us. You know, there's going to be a lot of factors, but we just have to stay strong. Bottom of the 6th inning, 5-1 Toronto. And let's see who's coming in. And looks like Mason Fluharty is coming in, and hopefully we can start a meltdown with Fluharty. All right, Mason Fluharty coming in. And Josh Naylor in the box. Naylor having a good day, 2 for 2 with a run and an RBI. And it would be great if we can continue a 2-out rally, which we have proven that we can do in the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. We're one of the best teams in baseball in the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. We're one of the best teams in baseball with 2 outs, where most teams crumble. You know, we thrive off the pressure. And even though our fan base may not be able to handle these type of situations at times, you know, again, you know, we just have to try to chip away. Fluharty on the mound, Naylor in the box. .1-0 pitch, low and at the knees to Josh Naylor. Good eye. 2 balls and no strikes from Fluharty to Naylor. And again, all it takes is a couple guys getting walked, a guy getting hit and not hurt, and just having guys steal a bag. Just something positive, that we haven't had when Scherzer was in, as well as Bieber in the last game. 2-0 pitch, takes a strike, swinging low and away. Got to be better. Can't be swinging at garbage. Don't help out Fluharty, Naylor. If you wouldn't have swung there, it would have been a 3-0 count. I mean, even though these umps have called questionable pitches outside, for strikes, but if he would have been patient there, it would have been a 3-0 count. And now with a 2-1 pitch, low and away, and that would have been ball 4. But now it's 3 balls and 1 strike to Josh Naylor. Come on, Josh. Be patient here. Bottom of the 6th, 5-1 Blue Jays. Runner at first with 2 outs. 3 balls and 1 strike with a runner at first and 2 away. Fluharty on the mound, Naylor in the box. Come on, Nails. We need a rally, baby. There we go. And there's ball 4. You knew eventually if they're going to have a meltdown, you just have to be patient. And this is exactly what we needed like 2 innings ago. But obviously give Scherzer credit. And now we have runners at first and second with 2 outs. And again, now if we can just get a magical play out of Eugenio Suarez, 1 swing can get the game to 5-4. And we know Gino is a streaky player. We know he's most of the time, not reliable, but again, he's going to be doing nothing. And then all of a sudden he'll do something. And when he does something, usually it'll be something big, an RBI, a solo dinger, 2-run jack, 3-run jack, grand salami. So again, we may not be able to have Gino be good every game in a series. He might be only good 1 game out of 7. Let's just hope that this is the game right here, and hopefully Gino can help us. First pitch, low and at the knees, takes a strike looking, 0-1 count. Even getting a line drive towards third base all the way to the left field wall, that could score too. You don't have to homer to be positive here. Bottom of the 6th, runners at first and second with 2 outs, 5-1 Blue Jays. Fluharty on the mound, Gino in the box. Come on, Gino. And Gino, there we go. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Go home, go home. The run scores, but that's out number 3. Naylor gets tagged out on a nice fucking laser throw, but not after we end up getting a run. And there you go. For all the people talking shit about Gino. Yeah, I get it. I would love for him to be more reliable, but just when you count him out and think that he's not going to do anything the whole series, there he goes. He gets a nice little bloop single. Naylor obviously gets tagged out on the great throw, but not after the runner comes home. And now we're in it. Again, everyone loves to overreact. Everyone loves to be negative. Let people be negative. And for the rest of us, we're going to be positive and we're going to have hope. End of the 6th inning. Great job by the M's. Great job by Gino. We know you're not a very good, consistent hitter, but every once in a while, you'll give us a little bit of magic. And yeah, would it have been better for him to hit a home run or to get a 2-run RBI double? Of course, but we're going to, take what they're going to give us. And we'll take 1. And now we're only down by 3 instead of 4. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Great job, Gino. Chip away. That's all we can do is just chip away and hope they continue to have meltdown after meltdown. Let's go. Nice job, Gino. And it's not like we say nice job, Gino, often. And we gained 5 subs since the last commercial break. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 400 likes, 100 on the dono train, and 50 to 100 subs. Let's go. Next up, 1 for 3 with a run, left fielder Nathan Lucas. Batting second, first baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And batting third, catcher Alejandro Kirk. Tridents up, go M, seize the moment. And now Bizzardo is coming in. Let's go, Edward. All right, bottom of the 7th inning. We're down by 3. Try to get a run in the 7th, a run in the 8th, a run in the 9th. And again, we might be able to get 1 to 4 runs in a single inning if the meltdown is bad enough. Now we got Bizzardo in, and we have trust in Bizzardo. First pitch to Nathan Lucas, fouls it off, high and away with the sinker, 0-1 count. And again, even though it was only a run and it sucked, having Naylor get thrown out at third, at least he ended up crossing the plate before Naylor got tagged. I mean, if Naylor would have got tagged and the run didn't come home, then there's more negativity. So again, just be positive, that we at least got the one. Not everything is going to be perfect. Just like Leo getting tagged out at first earlier, we just have to fight the umps and fight the adversity. 0-2 pitch, fouled off right down the middle. No balls and 2 strikes to Nathan Lucas. Top of the 7th inning, 5-2 Blue Jays. And there is a good chance if we do homer, it may not just be a solo dinger. Could be a 2-run blast or a 3-run jack to tie the game up. Remember that. And a little slow dribbler right up the middle. Throw to first. And that is 1 away. Down goes Nathan Lucas. Good job by Bizzardo. Next up is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. First pitch is low and away, 1-0 count. And again, we have had some issues with base running, with this team. And obviously guys kind of falling asleep, at first or at second. And guys getting tagged in between the base paths as well. Again, that's one thing that we could definitely improve on going into next year. And again, it is what it is. Unfortunate, but at least the runner came home before the tag. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking. Right down the middle, 1 ball and 1 strike from Bizzardo to Guerrero Jr. And Vladdy, and that one is gone. Unbelievable. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Solo dinger, and I guess we have to be happy that it was only a solo dinger, not anything more. And again, even our good guys in the pen are not going to be, someone that's going to be able to avoid Vlad when Vladdy is hot. 6-2 Toronto. Way to bring the electricity for the Blue Jays there, Vladdy. Next up is Alejandro Kirk. Oh, gosh. Just when we tried to get a little bit of momentum there. And obviously Dom tries and misses it. And, there's no guarantee that Victor would have been able to make that play either. First pitch, low and away, 1-0 count. .1-0 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and no strikes from Bizzardo to Kirk. .2-0 pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle. 2 balls and 1 strike with nobody on and 1 out. 6-2 Blue Jay lead. But again, could have been worse. Could have been a 2-run jack, a 3-run bomb, or a grand salami with Vladdy. So we have to be lucky that there was nobody on when he hit that homer. 2-1 pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Alejandro Kirk. .2-2 pitch, high and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Alejandro Kirk. Top of the 7th inning, 6-2 Toronto. 3-2 pitch. Fouled off right down the middle with that sinker, 94 miles an hour by Eduard Bazardo. Count still full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, nobody on with 1 out. 6-2 Toronto lead. Marcus with a tenner. Appreciate you, Marcus. And if there's anybody that has donoed on the Venmo or the Cash App and you haven't seen me recognize it, I might have not seen the notification on my phone. So speak up if it ends up being more than 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'll be able to get that situated for you. Appreciate you, Marcus. Another $10 holla on the dono train. And that is 2 away. Next up is Dalton Varsho. 0-1 pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike to Dalton Varsho. Bazardo on the mound. Varsho in the box. One pitch, fouled off. Low and in the zone. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Dalton Varsho. Top of the 7th, 6-2 Toronto. And again, each team showing that they are the dog on the road. You know, Seattle got the first 2 games in Toronto. That was shocking. And now Toronto winning possibly 2 games here in Seattle, a little shocking as well. But again, we still got a couple more innings to hope for a meltdown big enough for us to have a chance for this game to go into extras. And again, all it takes is a couple meltdowns by a couple pitchers and we can get closer into this matchup. 2-2 pitch. And that is big swing and a miss, and that is strike 3. Nice job by Bazardo. There we go. Let's go to the bottom of the 7th inning, and let's see if we can get back that home run that we gave up with Vladdy and see if we can get it to 6-3 or 6-4 here in the 7th. Let's go, Mariner Moose. We need you. Need a couple more subs. 32 to go to 23,100. Next up for the Mariners, 1 for 2, right fielder today, Dominic Canzone, unless they have Victor Robles come in and pinch hit. Batting second, shortstop, J.P. Crawford, and batting third, second baseman, Leo Rivas. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Just got to be able to find that meltdown. Judah in the building. What's good? All right, all day says we're at 231. We need 69 more to get to 300. And then that'll be the final goal of the night as far as the likes are concerned. Bottom of the 7th inning, 6-2 Toronto. Trident's up, seize the moment. Got to try to be able to cut into this lead somehow, some way. First pitch from Varland to Dominic Canzone, takes a strike swinging low and away, 0-1 count. All right, Louis Varland in the game, and we can get a meltdown from Louis. 0-1 pitch in play, grounds out to second, throw to first, and that is 1 away. Next up for Louis Varland and the Blue Jays will be 8-hole hitter, 0 for 2, J.P. Crawford. Let's go, J.P. We need that electricity. Come on, J.P. We got to get a rally started. And first pitch to J.P. grounds out to the shortstop. Let's be patient, Mariners. Why are we swinging at the first pitch against Louis Varland? Christ, let him go 5-10 pitches. 2 away. Next up, second baseman Leo Rivas. And Varland is a guy that can have a meltdown. You got to realize who you're going against. You know, don't give the advantage back to the pitcher and just swing at the first pitch. Bottom of the 7th, 6-2 Toronto. First pitch, high and away. Good eye by Leo. He's not swinging at the first pitch. 1-0 count. One 0 pitch, takes a strike, looking low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Leo Rivas. And Rivas hits it into right field. Diving catch into right field. Unbelievable. And the Blue Jays are just getting everything to fall into their laps. Unbelievable. And Addison Barger in right, making the big play. End of the 7th inning, 6-2 Toronto. We've got 2 innings to go, so we have to keep them at 6. Try to get to 6-4 by the 8th, and then try to score 2 runs in the 9th. Obviously, easier said than done. And again, you know, this has been a game that's been dominated by Toronto. There's no doubt about that. And again, we just got to try our very best to try to climb back into this matchup. Because the better that we do here late in this game, hopefully that'll carry over into Game 5. Otherwise, we might have the most Mariner thing possible, where we end up losing 3 games in a row, and then we win the last 2 games in Toronto. You know, which could be a possibility, but I know that everyone would love to be able to, you know, advance before it goes to Game 7. But again, you know, if that's what it takes to win this particular series, we might have to go that route. Have to go 6 or 7 games. So the Blue Jays are a good team. Let's go to the top of the 8th inning, and Emerson Hancock is coming in. I don't know if I agree with that, but I mean, I guess when you're down 4 runs, you don't want to use some of the other individuals, but and unfortunately, Emerson has not been good since he got moved to the pen. I would rather go Logan Evans rather than Emerson Hancock, but, you know, that's me. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Top of the 8th, 6-2 Toronto. And again, every team on the road is dominated. There hasn't really been a game or a situation where, you know, the road team found a way. Obviously, the first game was the closest, being at 3-1. And the Mariners winning that one on, short rest with a lot of guys that, you know, had to play when we went 15 innings in the ALDS Game 5 against the Tigers. And then we ended up exploding in Game 2, winning 10-3. And then the Blue Jays have exploded in back-to-back games, scoring 13 yesterday, and we only had 4. And now we're in a 6-2 deficit. First pitch from Hancock to Clement, low and away with a sweeper, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch in play. And Emerson struggles in the bullpen continue. I don't know what he is doing with this little sidearm approach, but he's fucking terrible. Next up is Addison Barger. I feel like with Emerson coming into the matchup, he's just as bad as Vargas and Caleb Ferguson. Like, I don't have a whole lot of faith with them. No spamming. 0-1 pitch, high and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike to Addison Barger. Top of the 8th inning, 6-2 Toronto. Runner at first with no outs. 1-1 pitch, low and away with the changeup. 2 balls and 1 strike to Addison Barger. 2-1 pitch, and that should have been called strike. And of course, do we get the call from the ump? No, we don't. And again, I'm sick and tired of these umps, you know, in the Tigers series and in this Blue Jays series where we have it in the box and they just call it ball. It's ridiculous. Three balls and 1 strike where it should be 2 balls and 2 strikes. 3-1 pitch, fouled off right down the middle. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Addison Barger. And that is ball 4, which probably would have turned into a strike 3 if we could actually get umps to call this game correctly. I don't know what's, you know, Emerson's delivery is all weird looking. You know, he used to pitch kind of normal, and now it's kind of this like weird sidearm approach. And he can't hit the strike zone if his, you know, life depended on it. Next up is Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, 2 for 3 with 2 runs. Miles Straw pinch running. And Straw is running for Barger. First pitch from Hancock to Kiner-Falefa should be a strike. And do we get the call? No, another ball. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, if we're going to lose this game, let us lose on our terms. You know, and again, I'm looking at all the pitch graphs. I'm watching the game. You know, I got multiple websites up on MLB.com and ESPN, and I don't think I've ever seen so many missed calls besides a few days ago. And Kiner-Falefa with the sack bunt to the pitcher. And runner is out at first. Runners move over to second and third with 1 out. It's not like the Blue Jays need any extra help. They're up 4, you know. It's like these umps are like trying to make it like there's no way that we're going to come back. Like they're going to do everything in their power to, you know, call strikes balls and balls strikes. It's just crazy here. We're down 4 already. Call it right down the middle, damn it. Next up is Andres Jimenez. First pitch low and at the knees, 1-0 count. And a line drive right up the middle. And there's another run and another. And now the score is 8-2 Toronto. Now the game is over. Again, if we were able to actually have an ump call a game correctly and, we could actually get something going. But, at this point, we're in the 8th. We're down 6. The number usually is 5. Once it's 5 runs or less, we're still in it. But now it's at 6, and the umps are against us on top of that. We just have to, call it is what it is. Congratulations to Toronto for winning back-to-back games here in Seattle. And we desperately have to find a way to win Game 5 at home. And if we end up losing that, then we got to win both games in Toronto to get to the World Series, which obviously every team that's played on the road has had success. Every team that's at home can't win a game. So, Panthers fan with a $5. One-0 pitch, takes a strike looking on the line. 1 ball and 1 strike to George Springer. 1-1 pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and 1 strike to George Springer. But obviously you can tell like the guys that, can't cut it. Emerson Hancock shouldn't play in a game ever. Caleb Ferguson shouldn't play in a game ever. Like there's certain guys that should never be playing, And again, if you have a choice between Hancock or Evans and we're at home, you go Evans. It's like, why do we have this blind loyalty to Emerson Hancock? He's not good. If you have to really be honest about it, he was the only mistake that we drafted in the first round in the last 5 years. Everyone else was a good player. He's the guy that just, he's not going to cut it, as a starter or a pen guy. Flat out not good. 2-2 pitch, fouled off. 2 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at first and 1 out. Top of the 8th inning, 8-2 Toronto. Pitch in play, fielder's choice, runner is out. Jimenez out at second, and that is 2 away. Next up is Nathan Lucas. And again, we don't need to be able to go over stuff that's like, on the line, or close, but when it's obvious, that's when it gets frustrating. It's like the Blue Jays don't need any extra help. They're already up, considerably in this game. First pitch, low and at the knees, 1-0 count. Jets or Panthers? Panthers. 1-0 pitch, fouled off right down the middle. 1 ball and 1 strike to Nathan Lucas. And I'm proud of your Panthers, man. They've definitely gotten much better. The Saints have gotten much worse. And, the Falcons are kind of hit or miss. And, sometimes good, sometimes a little shaky. But, you definitely have seen some improvement out of Carolina, which is great to see in the NFC South. 1-1 pitch, takes a strike looking high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes with a runner at first with 2 outs. Top of the 8th inning, 8-2 Toronto. 1-2 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Nathan Lucas. Yeah, Baker looks like he's the MVP, no Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin, no Emeka Egbuka. No Bucky Irving. How many teams could have a record like that with all starting 3 wide receivers and RB1 out with offensive line and secondary injuries also and still be that good? Baker is the truth. And Lucas has walked, and now we have runners at first and second with 2 outs in the top of the 8th. And bringing in Emerson Hancock, I have no idea why that happened. Bucks play on Monday against the Lions, I believe. And I will be doing that game, yeah. Top of the 8th, 8-2 Toronto. Runners at first and second with 2 outs. Hancock still in there. And Vladimir Guerrero Jr. flies out into right field. And that is out number 3. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 3 with a K, left fielder Randy Arozarena. I mean, the last thing that we need is Randy to be 0 and 4 and obviously be lazy in left field with those ground balls. And if you've noticed in the games that we've lost, Randy gets a lot of ground balls to him. And there's a correlation with that. You know, if we can get pop-ups or we can avoid baseballs going to Randy on the ground, obviously we do a hell of a lot better, you know, compared to those games where he ends up having 2, 3, 4 baseballs on the ground towards him, and it gets kind of ugly. But hopefully Randy will be able to do something here late like he did with Cal when they went back-to-back late last night. 0 for 2 with a base on ball and a K, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. We need guys like Randy and Cal to work the count. You know, you can't just be swinging at the first 2 pitches and assuming you're going to homer. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a base on ball and 2 Ks, Julio Rodriguez. Always, brother, always. Jeff Hoffman coming in. So Louis Varland out, Jeff Hoffman in, the righty. And we need you more than ever. All right, come on, Randy. Let's see if we can finish strong here in these last 2 innings. I mean, we had the most even series with the Tigers, and we have the most even series here against the Blue Jays. You know, and the Dodgers, you know, are the, you know, kings of the castle. They won the championship last year. They have the highest payroll, you know, almost $200 million more than the Mariners, you know, and we're going to be, you know, David, just like the Blue Jays, and the Dodgers are Goliath, and even the Brewers can't hang. So, you know, we'll see where this goes, and we just got to take it one game at a time. First pitch to Randy, takes a strike looking high and away, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, low and away. Slider missing by Hoffman. 1 ball and 1 strike to Randy Arozarena. And I'm definitely looking forward to the pitcher's report card that comes out, you know, by some of the stat nerds on social media to see how many bad pitches and missed calls that we got. Obviously, it wasn't going to affect the overall outcome, but it definitely cost us a few runs, you know, based on all those bad calls. 1-1 pitch, high and inside. 2 balls and 1 strike to Randy Arozarena. 2-1 pitch, takes a strike swinging right down the middle. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. Bottom of the 8th inning, 8-2 Toronto. 2-2 pitch, takes a strike 3 looking right down the middle, and that is 1 away. Hard to win when you're 1, 2, and 3 are not doing anything. Next up is big dumper Cal Raleigh. And if you've noticed, Cal has really been pressing, not only in the Tiger series, but also in this Blue Jay series. We can't afford for him to get out on the first 2 pitches. Like, get it to pitch 4, pitch 5, and you will get that pitch that you can swing at and have a chance for an RBI or home run. But if you're just going to be pressing and swinging at the first pitch or second pitch, assuming it's going to be right down the middle with a fastball and you're going to go yard every time, yeah, you'll go yard once in a while, but you're also going to hurt the team by popping up and grounding out when you could have worked the at-bat a little bit more. First pitch is low and away, 1-0 count. One-0 pitch, and Raleigh fouls out to third, and that is 2 away. Cal's too good of a player, to be out in 2 pitches. Down goes Cal, 2 away. Next up is Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, Julio. First pitch takes a strike, looking low and away, 0-1 count. Oh-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Julio Rodriguez. I mean, especially when we had to go to game 5, 15 innings against the Tigers, again, it would have been great if we could have gotten a sweep or win in 5, but realistically, we're going to have to win in 6, or realistically, we might have to win in 7. And again, it's not ideal, since the Dodgers are going to have so much rest and whatnot, more than likely up 3-0 against the Brewers. But again, if this is the battle that we have to face and the war that we're going to have to get into, we just have to be able to take what we get. 1-2 pitch, high and inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. But I do pray that in the next 3 games, 1 in Seattle, 2 in Toronto, that the umping is better. The umping has not been good in this series. And down goes Julio Rodriguez, striking out looking. And let's go to the top of the 9th inning. 8-2 Toronto. And a few more subs, 31 subs to go to 23,100. There's no guarantee that the Dodgers would sweep the Blue Jays or the Mariners if they got there. I mean, is that a possibility that the Dodgers could, end up sweeping whoever they play? Of course, but again, you would have to hope that, the Mariners or the Blue Jays could, end up winning a game or 2, which is possible. And obviously it's a very David and Goliath type of story. And whether it be this year or in the future, when the Dodgers make it, someone, is going to beat them. It may not be this year. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But again, there is going to be a David and Goliath. And regardless on who comes out on the American League side, they're going to be the underdog no matter what. Not only this year, but moving forward. I mean, when one team's got $350 million payroll and the Mariners are like 150, 165, they got $200 million more invested. So, I mean, imagine if we had $200 million more to play with, how much better our team would look. In the top of the 9th inning for the Blue Jays, 0 for 3 with a base on ball and a K, catcher Alejandro Kirk. Batting second, 0 for 3 with an RBI, base on ball, and 2 Ks, center fielder Dalton Varsho. And batting third, 2 for 4 with a run and a K, second baseman Ernie Clement. I mean, you got to be able to handle your guys' emotions better, you know. Again, and just because something bad happens, you know, life is not ending. You know, we're up 2-0 in the series, you know, and now it's 2-2. You know, is that what we wanted? You know, in game 3 and game 4? No. But again, we didn't anticipate going up 2-0 either. So first pitch from Hancock to Kirk, high and inside, 1-0 count. One-0 pitch, high and inside with the sinker. 2 balls and no strikes to Alejandro Kirk. I mean, basically, it's going to be a sprint, and whoever wins 2 games out of 3 is going to the World Series against the Dodgers as huge underdogs. But again, you know, we've never been, and we've obviously had a great year this year, but we're not done. And you know, it's going to take, you know, a good run in these last 3 games, possibly, maybe next 2, and we'll see where, you know, the chips fall. 2-1 pitch, high and inside, 3 balls and 1 strike to Alejandro Kirk. Three 1 pitch, takes a strike, looking right down the middle. Count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Alejandro Kirk. But the thing is if you're not watching the game from beginning to end and you're not actually seeing where these pitches are falling, you know, me and Reflect look at the reports, you know, pretty much every day. And if you have an ump that's missing 30 calls and you're telling me that doesn't affect the outcome of a game, you're lying to yourself. You know, it does affect the outcome of the game, you know, especially when there's that many missed, you know, and it's different when it's like 1 or 2, you know, or 5 or 6. But when you get into the 20 and 30 range, you know, it does make a difference. Especially when they could have been, you know, strike 3 or the end of an inning, and then you keep the inning going, and then that turns into home runs and RBIs. So again, some of us are watching the game in full and others of you are not, and it shows. And that is 1 away. First pitch from Hancock to Varsho, low and away. Big swing and a miss, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, fouled off, high and inside. No balls and 2 strikes to Dalton Varsho. You know, but even with, you know, 30 missed fucking calls, have we played good enough to win in game 3 and game 4? Fuck no. You know, we've gotten dominated, just like we dominated them in game 1 and game 2. More so in game 2. Game 1 was close. You know, that was a 3-1 game, so that one could have went either way. And also, if you've noticed in game 3 and game 4, we haven't got enough out of Polo, you know, who, you know, has been the hero in more games than not in the postseason. 1-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and that is 2 away. You know, it's like we need the guys at the top of the order to be consistent, you know, Randy, Cal, Julio, and we definitely need, you know, Polo to be Polo. And again, you know, these guys are human. You know, not every single game are they going to go 3 for 5 or 4 for 5 and hit, you know, multiple home runs and get 3 ribbies every game. You know, some games are going to be fantastic and others are going to be a battle, and they're going to be a struggle, especially based on the pitchers we've been facing. First pitch to Clement, big swing and a miss, 0-1 count. And popped up. And a nice diving catch by Julio Rodriguez in the no-fly zone. Nice job, Julio. And let's go to the bottom of the 9th inning for our last run to see if we can get a run or 2 and try to get to 3 or 4 before this one is over. Next up, 0 for 2 with a run and a base on ball, DHing Jorge Polanco. Batting second, 2 for 2 with a run, RBI, and a base on ball, Josh Naylor. And batting third, 1 for 3 with an RBI and a K, Eugenio Suarez. And I think one thing that we've learned in this particular, you know, series, we can't afford to have Polo, even though he is sometimes suspect on defense. He plays better when he's playing, you know, in the outfield, you know, or you know, out there at, you know, second base. So I think that, you know, the Leo Rivas opportunity was nice. But again, I think moving forward in these last 3 games, you know, if you're going to go with the DH, you got to have Polo play. It's got to be Polo. It's got to be JP. And, you're going to get a better opportunity for Polo to play better if he's just not hitting. He's got to be out there fielding as well. And sometimes, when you end up fielding, it does spark some emotion when you go to the batter's box rather than just sitting there as a DH and just hitting only. So, I love me some Leo Ribas, but, we got to have Polo playing second the last 3 games. All right, Dominguez is coming in. And obviously having Victor in right field as well is a priority too for the last 3 games. I agree, Reflect. Having Dom out there is not good enough. And even though Dom did get a hit, again, if we're as crazy as this kind of sounds, with these last 3 games, if we had to have, someone DH, and obviously if Cal is still catching and whatnot and Polo's playing second, I think I would rather go Mitch Garver at DH over Canzone, which is kind of a crazy thing to say. It's like we've given Dom a lot of opportunities to take the job from Mitch, but again, even though we don't really fully believe in Mitch either, I think Mitch would give us a better opportunity to get a hit or like a surprise home run, since we've already given Dom plenty of opportunities to do it, and he hasn't really been able to be consistent enough. And I think if we're going to go that route, yeah, obviously we know Mitch sometimes struggles, but also he does end up being the unsung hero sometimes. So, at least have Mitch play in like one of the last 3 games and see what he does, and obviously you have a few other guys that you could put in there, maybe like Miles Mastroboni. If he's on the roster, why not have him DH? Maybe go Mastroboni in a game, Garver in a game, and then if you want to go Dom in a game, unless Cal is, DHing and whatnot, but you would assume that Cal's going to be catching every game. We can't afford to have Garver or Ford, catch at this point. This is to go to the World Series. So, I never thought I would say I want Mitch over Dom, but I think that's where we're at right now. Like we think Dom is the better player, but again, lately Dom has been struggling, and I think it's time to give Mitch another chance. And I think it's time to give Miles Mastroboni a chance to get in there too. Maybe Mastroboni, for a game, Mitch for a game or 2, and, and kind of go from there. First pitch from Dominguez to Polo, takes a strike looking, 0-1 count, but also have to have Victor Robles in right field for every game the rest of the way, and Polo at second for the rest of the way to maximize our opportunity to try to win 2 out of 3 here late. All day, and TJ said we got plus 250. Appreciate that. 1-1 pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and 1 strike from Dominguez to Polo. And some guys, can just DH, like Edgar Martinez. But again, Edgars don't grow on trees. And again, I think with Polo, he's just, not going to be good enough by just DHing. We have to have him at second. And I love Leo, but again, Leo falling asleep at first, it's not going to cut it. 2-1 pitch in play, and Polo flies out to center, and that is 1 away. Next up is Josh Naylor. Yeah, but you could say the same thing about Seattle dominating Toronto in the first 2 games. How did Toronto let Seattle win the first 2? After we went 15 innings in ALDS Game 5. That should have never happened, right? So again, you have to look at it both ways. Mariners, surprised and stole the first 2 games, and now the Blue Jays, ended up evening up the series. This is the most even matchup. This is not the Brewers and Dodgers, where the Dodgers are going to win in 4 or in 5. It's probably going to go 7 games, maybe 6. First pitch to Naylor, takes a strike looking, 0-1 count. And Naylor with a hit. Nice job, Josh. way to bring some electricity late. We know we're going to drop this game, but, anything positive moving forward will help going into tomorrow. Next up is Eugenio Suarez. Would be obviously he hits a home run here. We lose 8-4. Obviously a lot better than losing 8-2. We got back-to-back homers by Randy and Cal. Let's see if we can get some magic here out of Gino. Bottom of the ninth, 8-2 Toronto. Runner at first with 1 out. Big swing and a miss, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Eugenio Suarez. But it's just as likely for Gino to get an RBI or home run as for him to hit a double play right up the middle, game over. We know that too with Gino, very inconsistent. So 1-1 pitch, takes a strike swinging, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Eugenio Suarez. And the bottom line is you got to give credit where credit is due. The Blue Jays are a fucking good team. We were shocked to win the first 2 games. I was thinking, like most people, maybe we win 1 out of 2. Maybe we lose game 1 because we went 15 innings in ALDS game 5 and we win game 2. But somehow, some way, we won game 1 and game 2. So, we were playing with house money, and the Blue Jays obviously got great production out of Bieber and Scherzer. If Bieber and Scherzer aren't on the roster, maybe we do sweep. But again, it shows you even old school vets can play like OG and Young, from time to time. And, Bieber and Scherzer did a great job. 2-2 pitch and popped up, and Suarez pops up, and that is 2 away. I think like some Mariner fans got a little delusional when we got up 2-0, and including myself at a point thinking, oh man, maybe we're gonna sweep them. Maybe we're going to win in 5, but maybe we're going to sweep after we won 10-3 in game 2. I mean, a lot of Mariner fans were thinking, oh, World Series, but again, you can't overlook the Tigers. You can't overlook the Blue Jays. We haven't been in this position before in a long time, since 2001, and we have to act like it. First pitch, low and away, 1-0 count. And sometimes you need to get humbled, and the Blue Jays definitely have humbled our fan base. And again, we have to understand now it's 2-2 and it's a race. Whoever wins 2 out of 3 is going to the World Series against the Dodgers. And hopefully that will be the Seattle Mariners. 1-0 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and no strikes to Dominic Canzone. 2-0 pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle. 2 balls and 1 strike to Dominic Canzone. Runner at first in the bottom of the ninth, down by 6. 2-1 pitch, fouled off, high and inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Dominic Canzone. And a wild pitch. Naylor advances to second there by the wild pitch by Dominguez. Bottom of the ninth, 8-2 Toronto. And Canzone strikes out looking, and that is the game. And again, first 2 games, a lot of joy, a lot of happiness, a lot of surprises. And then obviously these last 2 games, it's been miserable. There's no other word to really describe it, right? And again, now we start off, pretty much even. And now it's a sprint for these last 3 games. And whoever wins 2 out of 3 is making the World Series against the Dodgers. So congratulations to the Toronto Blue Jays doing exactly what we did, winning 2 games on the road. And we have game 5. Hopefully we can finally win a fucking home game. And then we'll go back to Toronto for the last 2 games and we'll see where it goes. But obviously it's going to be either in 6 or 7 games. And I'm looking forward to the matchup, obviously, in game 5. So congratulations, Blue Jays and the Blue Jay fan base. You got us in these last 2 games. And again, we're going to be very hungry in these last 3 to get the job done. Love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. Shout out to all the people that liked, sub, donated, commented, shared. Starting it off with Steven with a 10er, Reflect with a 3er, Dave with a 20, Panthers fan with a 5, Sarah with a 5, Woohoo with a 10, We with a 2, Woohoo with a 2, Woohoo again with a 5, Matt with a 5, and Panthers fan with a 5 as well. Appreciate you guys very much, and shout out to all the mods and the regulars for helping us get our like number up as well. And again, not the outcome that we wanted, but again, at the end of the day, you have to realize that this is not just a battle, it's a war. It's tied up at 2, and we have just as good of a chance as the Blue Jays it is advancing to the World Series. So sleep good tonight. And again, we still are in this series. It's tied up at 2 now, instead of being up 2-0. And the Blue Jays are a damn good team. Final score, Toronto Blue Jays 8, Seattle Mariners 2. And I love you guys and I appreciate you guys very much. And I got one question for you. Who talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Go M's, try to up, seize the moment, and I'm out. Gang.